There's no hope? Are there issues and problems in your life that you want to break away from and feel like you can't? Do you wonder, how can I be free from these issues that have destroyed my life? Well, my friend, I have the answer. Bible Way Hibner Memorial Church of God in Christ presents Chain Breakers, this and every Sunday at 9 a.m. here on WHYL.
From the L.B. Smith Ford Lincoln Studios, Oldies 102.9 is WHYL Carlisle.
Welcome to the Real Estate Radio Guys, your weekly source for all things real estate. We're your hosts, real estate broker John Rainville and your mortgage expert Kingsley Harmer, discuss everything from mortgage rates to home staging for foreclosures and everything in between that affect the daily real estate market. Real people, real questions, real answers. Today's show is brought to you by www.pagoloan.com, your source for new mortgage loans. NMLS number 1018. EnviroQuest, trusted for home inspections and radon mitigation in Central PA for over 25 years. And brokersrealty.com, the easiest way to search for real estate in your hometown. Now, on to the show.
Good morning. It's a really nice, bright, sunshiny day. Got to see the sun come up.
For the first time in a while, yeah.
Fantastic morning. Supposed to be warmer today. Feel like a heat wave. I see Kingsley's got his shorts on this morning. He's ready to tan back there by the volcano pool. So good morning, Kingsley. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm excited about today's show.
Fantastic show. This is a really cool show, folks. If you've ever thought or dreamed about building a brand new home, you got to listen today. If you've got friends, family, relatives that have ever thought or ever mentioned to you at Thanksgiving dinner that they wish they could build a new home, call them now, get them on the show, because this is a game changer, what we're going to go over today.
That it is. And before we get started, I do have to give a shout out to those watching live, the Eagles this weekend. I know we're playing, quote unquote, somebody that the NFL apparently has already deemed to be going to the Super Bowl, and obviously has Eagles fans a little riled up over that. So hopefully we'll be able to prove them wrong this weekend. So now that I got that little pitch in, this is a product for, honestly, anybody that's thinking about buying a home, because I think a lot of people, when they think about building a home, they think that there's just either A, so much involved for the buyer, B, that they have to come up with so much cash or jump through so many hoops, aside from, the regular qualifying, etc. Or they think that they're going to get, and this is what this particular product is for those people that want a new home but don't want to live crammed next to their neighbor on these little lots in a development, in a cookie-cutter development where all of the homes look the same. And I don't know, I find it boring. I like the idea of, the neighborhood, but I just don't like the idea of every home being the exact same and everybody comes out with their little smiley faces on, the whole, Susie Q with the picket fence and all the rest of that. So this is for the person that, has always wanted to have their own home and wants to put it on their own lot or a lot of their own choosing, wherever. It could be out in the middle of nowhere, maybe a mile or two off of, the strip. And in our little area, the Carlisle Pike, I think of as kind of like the mecca of, the Mechanicsburg, but there's so many areas that are just outside of it where you get quiet, away from, the busy streets, etc., but you don't want to have to buy in a development.
So to give our listeners, to give you all a little bit about what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about how to finance it, how to find it, how to match up. We have a fantastic builder, Brad Farner, on the line. This man builds everything and anything. I don't know if he's ever built a volcano. We're going to have to ask him. But anyways, we're going to show you how to put the whole package together. Kingsley's going to explain the financing here. We're going to have Brad on the line to talk to you about homes and seeing if a lot's actually even suitable. Brokers Realty, and there's a lot of other ones. We have certified new home sales professionals that can help you also. But Kingsley, let's sort of start talking about this program and what type of buyer, and then we'll get Brad on the line.
So, yeah, I mean, as we kind of discussed, I mean, the type of buyer that you're looking for is really anybody looking to buy a home, because if you're looking at older homes, as you know, there's not a whole lot of inventory out on the market right now. So, for those that are choosy, that want certain amenities, that want the granite countertops and the upgraded circuits, or maybe SIP homes, which we might be getting into, something that's more green, etc. This is for you, period, because you can buy a new built home with the same amount of qualifications and the same amount of down payment and the same amount of headache and or quote unquote steps that you have to take to buy a regular home. So why not build one or buy one that's exactly suited for you? So I hate to drown anybody else out, but that's what this is for, because you can literally pick your price. You can pick your land, and you can pick the area.
Right. So what type of properties can they build, Kingsley?
Well, with this particular program, you can get a modular home.
Okay.
You can get a manufactured home. Okay. It could be something as simple as going down to a local retailer and saying, look, that is the home I want. I already have the land. Please just drop it on my land. And it's never quite that easy. But that's where I want to be. That's the home I want. It's already pre-built.
And we can do a stick-built home.
And, of course, we can do stick-built,
and
which is...
we can probably even do a log home.
Log homes currently are being worked on. And the big issue with log homes is the comps.
Okay. For the appraisal.
Correct. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But it's certainly on the horizon. So, yeah, there's a stick-built home. You can pretty much design it however you want, from the ground up, single family. We even can do 2 units. Maybe you're looking to get into a home. This is your final home for retirement, so you want a rancher. Maybe you've got 6 kids and you're not finding the home that you need, so you need 4 or 5, 6 bedrooms. So you can pretty much build anything if you can put your mind to it and design it. So seriously, I mean, with that being said, so we have a great builder on that we talked to you about. Brad Farner, and Brad.
We've had Brad on a couple times.
Yeah, and Brad really does do the gamut as far as building and the different types of homes, etc. So I thought it would be great to have him on to explain the possibilities, and that's really where we're going to start.
So you mean? Wait, before we start with Brad, so is financing a volcano a tough thing too? It's finding the comps.
I think if you had an appraiser out and the volcano was running and you offered him a cocktail, and lounged by the pool during his appraisal, that might not be so much of an issue. But I'm sure there's not a whole lot of comps out there with volcanoes and lava overflowing, etc.
So good morning, Brad. How are you doing?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing fine this morning.
Fantastic.
Not sure about building a volcano, but I'm doing fine.
Brad, no, look, you've been building for decades. I know you don't like me to tell people that, but you've been building for decades. Have you ever built a volcano?
No, I haven't.
Would you be willing to try?
Always.
There you go. That's all we ask for. I actually had a buddy out in California that it wasn't a volcano, but it was the beginnings of a volcano. And how they made them was literally out of gallon milk jugs and cement, and they just used those to kind of form, the rocks and the formations and whatnot to put that together. So basically, what I'm saying is, you can if you can conceive it, you can achieve it. And if there's anybody that can do it, Brad is certainly the guy. You have seen and built a ton of homes, right? I mean,
I've done the stick-built homes. I have a dealership, a builder dealership for Crockett Log and Timber Frame homes. I do commercial work. I've built microbreweries. I've actually taken a barn and turned it into a house. So yeah, I pretty much have done everything over the last 35 years.
So you have, what is one of the craziest concepts somebody came to you with and said, Brad, I've never seen it done, but can we make this happen?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Pretty much building houses on sides of mountains is probably, I've put some houses on sides of mountains that I didn't think were going to stay. A lot of engineering involved in it.
I can only imagine. So were they in the mountain or just on the side of the mountain?
They're on the side of the mountain, but when you get into that steep properties like that, it takes a lot of engineering to secure a house to the mountain.
I can only imagine. See, I lived out in L.A. for good bit of years, and that was most of them. And they'd have those pillars that go up like 50, 60 feet in the air. You're thinking, my God, one earthquake, and that thing's just going to topple over. But obviously, like you said, you do the right engineering, flip a coin, and hopefully it stays, right?
Right. Well, you can if you do the right engineering, you can just about build anything and keep it in place.
So let's talk about some of, in this area in particular, what is a typical design then for what you do? I mean, I know you do it all, but what's the average home as far as what you mostly build?
Mostly they're usually about 2,000 square foot, 2 stories. You can get more on a lot with a 2-story house. You get more living space on a smaller lot. And like you said before, most of these lots out here are just, 1/8-acre, quarter-acre lots, nothing big, and you're right up against your neighbor. When we get out into the country and stuff, we do a lot of ranch houses and, again, the log and timber frame homes.
So do you do a lot of building on already preset lots? How developer comes in and they plat them out, and you've got 100 different lots sitting there ready to build on. Do you find yourself with folks wanting to build there, or are they wanting to hopefully find their own lot that has some acreage, maybe a little bit more in the outskirts, where they've got a little bit more privacy?
The majority of my homes are out of developments. Mainly, a lot of it is these big companies. They come in and buy up these developments and then lock all the independent builders out. So you're kind of stuck when you go into a development with that builder. Now, I have access to some developments that friends of mine have developed that I can get lots if I need to in developments. So
finding land then is really kind of the premium. So being hooked up with the right builder with access to lots can certainly be a benefit.
Well, yeah, another point here is a lot of builders anymore don't build outside of their subdivisions. So you need someone like Brad who, is willing to travel, pretty broad area and bring his level of expertise to the table, and you're going to get, just a fantastic product.
So
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that a lot of real estate companies don't like to deal with the lots that are not in developments either. They like to stick to the developments. That's something John's good at is going out and finding the lots that are not in developments.
So here's my question, or at least my dilemma then. Or what I think the dilemma of a lot of realtors is, and John, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If you have, let's just say we go out into, I don't want to say the outskirts, but you go into areas of Mechanicsburg where you're pushing, the town limits, and maybe out in the Carlisle, where there is an abundance of land. From a realtor's perspective, you're like, another $20,000 piece of land. It's going to sit there for a couple of years. Nobody's going to buy it. It may be a little overpriced. And who's going to want raw land? So where's the incentive to sell a $20,000 piece of property when your commission is based on what the purchase price is. Am I right?
Absolutely spot on.
So I think there's a lot of land out there that can be had and bought and built on if there was any sort of energy behind it. You know, I mean, has anybody ever come to you and say, hey, what about building over here? I saw this lot going up, Wurtsville Pike, and it's like 3 acres and it's just sitting there. Why can't I build on that? I mean, have you ever run into a buyer that wanted to build on a piece of property that just didn't have the wherewithal or the ability to build on that particular type of lot?
Are you asking John or me?
You.
Oh, that's great. I have people come to me all the time and ask me to go out and look at lots to see if they're buildable and it's feasible to build on them. And I do that. I have that service. I can go out and lay out a house, just kind of visualize a house for them and how it would fit and everything. There's usually a fee involved in it.
And when you do that, I mean, there's a little bit more involved than just looking at the land and saying, yeah, it looks like a house will fit here. I mean, you have to kind of look at a bunch of different factors, right? I mean, grading, at some point, do you do like soil tests or,
well, we can go if they want to go to that point. First thing is you got to look at the grading because the EPA and environmental stuff today it can get really expensive to do some lots and I can see right off the bat if it's going to be feasible, financial wise to do that. If the lot works for that, then we can go in and do a perk and probe if it's going to be a private septic system. And that to verify that you can put a septic system on that lot before you build.
And I've heard some horror stories where they've gone in thinking to drill a well was going to be at a cost of $5,000 or $6,000. Then all of a sudden there was like 40 feet of rock you had to try and drill through, which drives the cost obviously way up. And then before they were all said and done, they had to go down that many more feet until they actually hit water. And that's all part of figuring out whether a lot is going to be feasible for a home. So it's not just saying, yeah, it looks like a house will fit over in that corner. You actually go out and put some time and effort into that.
Yes, I do. If it's a property that's been subdivided off a farm, if the farmer's still there, he's an excellent source of where the water is on the property. Farmers are very good at knowing what's on their property. I had one house that I built that the farmer came out and told us where to put the well, and the couple didn't want the well there. They ended up going down over 400 feet before they gave up, went back to where the farmer said, and went down 120 feet and had over 28 gallons per minute.
Nice. So maybe they should have just listened to you in the first place.
Yeah. You always listen to the farmers. They've got generations of knowing where the water is on their property.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. And by all means, maybe listen to the builder that's got over so many years of experience as well. Which is why it's great to have an experienced builder because not only of the land they can tell you up front without having to spend too much money like they did on certain aspects of the land. And I'm sure, back in the past, people wanted a house on a particular property. I'm sure at some point you said, this might not be the best piece of land for it. And you end up running into complications throughout the process. But in all, at the end of the day, I guess, you got to go with what the buyer wants. And if they're willing to pay for it, great. So with that being said, when they come to you, tell me a little bit about, what kind of materials you use. I mean, let's just say, for example, we were talking about a 2-story, right, 2,000 square feet average. Are we doing pre-built? Are we doing what seems to be what's the word I'm looking for here, John? The where's the market moving? I mean, is SIP homes becoming the new thing? Are people actually looking into that more now, or?
Well,
I think the SIP homes are a really nice product. We do use them to wrap all our timber frame and post and beam homes, but we also build homes out of them. They're structural panels. They're well insulated. They stay. It's a solid 6-inch panel, so there's no air infiltration coming from the outside. So it's a very efficient home. Actually, much better than a 2x6 framed home.
And that obviously drives the cost of heating, electric, the whole 9 yards down. So your overall efficiency on a home like that allows you to afford a bigger home, correct?
Correct. I have catalogs and brochures here that I'm going to get to John that has the green home in it, which is the SIP panels and all the testing, the federal testing and everything in it that shows what you will save over the lifetime of the house in energy costs.
Which I think we've gone over before in one of our shows, and I think we actually touched on it with you before. When you're talking saving $100 or $200 a month on average from heating and cooling and that sort of thing, that really does equate to a big difference as far as what sort of house you can afford. So that really does bring into, like I said in the beginning of the show, basically anybody that wants to buy a house. Because you can be buying an old house that was built in the 1950s. Maybe it had an addition put on, and to get up to the 2,000 square feet. And you could be in an area in Mechanicsburg. And what's an average house in Mechanicsburg now? 300, 350, depending on the area.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're talking the newer construction, the newer homes.
So you've got an older home that's 2,000 square feet. They had an addition put on, maybe some upgrades. You're still talking threes, depending on the area, right?
I'm going to say 250 to 350.
Okay. So you've got a home that's not very efficient because it was built many, many years ago versus a home that's built with today's technology and efficiency. I would be willing to bet that your payments would be closer than you think to actually have a new build property built with your overall cost of the cost of ownership.
It's very close price wise, and the nice part about building a home is you were saying about buying an older home, putting additions on, and remodeling and stuff, and very few people will move into a home and not change things or add things. So to you add all that up, most people decide that they can go out and build a house, get what they want right off the start, and it's all fresh and new and more efficient.
And I agree with you. And that's why I'm kind of excited to bring all this together today. So I'm going to kind of go over a little bit about how the process works, and we're going to go step by step as far as what somebody should expect if they decide, hey, look, I'm really thinking about building a house because I do realize that I can almost own a brand new home with the same cost of ownership.
So what's the first step? They should reach out to you?
Well, the first step is you have to get pre-qualified. Okay? You have to, and here's the cool thing about this program. It is mind-boggling with the way my company comes up with these sort of programs. But it is what's called a one-time close. And the first thing I want to do is go over what the old-fashioned way was when you think about buying a home. You think about either A, having to pay cash for the land, which means you need a lot of money up front, right? B, back in years ago, you used to be able to finance lots, and you still can, but you need to put a very large amount down as far as a percentage.
Okay, so let's say they get pre-approved, then...
Well, I'm going over the old-fashioned ways first. It used to be that you had to put a large amount down to finance the lot. So now you've got a lot payment over and above what your regular housing payment is.
Okay.
Now you go out and you find a builder. Brad comes into the picture, right? Brad sits there and he talks to the clients, and Brad's going to go over the materials, and they're going to build this, mansion on this home. Now the buyer has to go out and get a construction loan, which is a completely different loan that they have to qualify for, and they have to make payments on how much they draw on it, and we'll get into the draws in a minute.
So they make payments while the house is being built, so they're paying for wherever they're living.
Correct, which go up
Plus
over time because as they're going on, they're borrowing more and more and more, and they're still living in their current house, right? Then after all that's said and done, the builder's sitting there and he's got his time, his materials, and everything, into this project. And when it's all done, the builder has to basically cross his fingers and hope that nothing happens during the whole time of construction so that they qualify for this, what they call a takeout loan at the end. Does that sound about right, Brad?
Yep, that sounds exactly right.
So the new process is simplified, very simplified. The first step is you call me up, okay? You call me on my office line, or you can go online, 717-200-4800. We go through maybe a 10 to 15-minute pre-qualification, okay, over the phone. We can do it in person. We can do it over the phone. You can do it online. I conveniently put a site up, just for today's call and this new product that we just rolled out at closeonetime.com. That's CLOSE, the number 1, time.com. You can go on there, click on Get Qualified at the very top of the page, and it's a very, very simple application. It walks you through what you got to put in there. It explains what you're putting in there, so even I could get through an application by following the instructions on it. Very simple. Once they put all the information in, what I will do, or one of my loan officers would do, would be to check that information, obviously check the credit, make sure it fits the qualifications of the program. Boom, piece of cake, right? You get a certificate, you're qualified, and we move on to the next phase. So, what does it mean to be qualified for this particular program now? Glad you asked, John. So, normally, you would think you're qualifying for a construction loan, but in the beginning of this phase, you're qualifying for your standard loan. You're qualifying for an FHA loan, USDA loan, VA loan, and soon this product will actually open up for regular Fannie Mae products as well. So what does that mean to you as a buyer? If I am qualifying for a brand new construction loan and I only have maybe 3.5% to 5% of my funds, I don't have 20%, and I certainly don't have the cost for the land, with an FHA loan, you're qualifying based on 3.5% down and standard FHA guidelines. So if you qualify for an FHA loan, okay, for a regular house that's already been built, a preoccupied home, you in essence qualify for a brand new build home with less money down. 3.5% FHA.
Okay.
The property or the build also will take into account USDA loans.
So 100% financing if the lot location permits.
For USDA, correct.
For USDA, or 100% with VA.
Correct.
And as long as the property will appraise for a high enough amount, we may actually be able to build in all their closing costs, potentially.
Correct. And that's part of the process once we get down with the builder and the contract.
Okay, so even like on FHA at that point in time, can we get like 6% help?
Mm-hmm.
If
Absolutely.
it's there?
Yeah, standard FHA guidelines. No overlays. No overlays, folks. This product is fascinating. No overlays whatsoever. There's small nuances to the program as far as your credit score.
Okay, so then what's the next step?
Well, the next step is, to figure out what loan you qualify for. Once you figure that out, you get a certificate.
Right.
Okay?
So we've got the certificate.
You take the certificate, and the buyer's going to submit documents, okay, like your regular documents. What sort of documents? Standard qualification, tax returns, W-2s, just to show you have the money, bank statements, copy of your driver's license to make sure you are who you are. And, of course, if you've got, IRA, 401k, sort of retirement savings, to sit in there. We submit that to the underwriter. Underwriter gives you an actual approval. Now, this is before we even start down the process of designing your home and finding the lot, okay? So
now they're pre-approved with you. They get the certificate, and then they reach out to a realtor.
Well, yeah, then we match you up with a realtor.
Okay.
And the realtor is going to go out and find your perfect piece of land for you.
Now, my advice as a real estate broker is that you find someone that is well-versed in new home construction. The National Association of Home Builders has a class and training for realtors. It's called Certified New Home Sales Professionals, or it's a CSP designation. You don't want a newbie. You don't want somebody that's never done a new build home. You need somebody that understands that, so when you're in the meetings down the road with Brad, and the builder, that they can help guide you also in the process, but they can also help you rule in and rule out some lots before someone like Brad goes for a suitability inspection on the lot. And Brad, what does that normally run? About $500 to go out and check out a lot?
Yeah, depending on my traveling time, but yeah, it can be up to $500.
Okay.
So there you have it. Find somebody that knows what they're doing, which I would venture to say is probably an important piece of information anytime when you're picking a realtor.
So we would want Brad to come out before we write a contract on that lot.
Oh, yeah, we haven't. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Well, you're not letting me talk too much today, so I got to jump in, get my 2 cents worth in.
Well, and you're an important part of this at this point of the process, a very important part, because I
could have slept in a little longer.
You're going to guide these people from this point on, because the next step obviously is to match that buyer with a builder and or manufacturer, retailer that is going to fit within what a buyer's desires, goals, plans, future plans, idea are. So take Brad, for example, who has done the gamut of homes. Luckily, it's an easy fit to say, hey, let's call Brad to see if he'll work in the situation, because he'll probably work in most of them. But there are some builders that will do, either only high-end homes or only mid-range homes. Maybe they don't have experience with fine updates or fine upgrades, and I don't know, granite. Maybe they don't know anything about green homes or different heating systems, etc. But so you match up with a builder, and in this particular case, you've got the realtor finding that perfect lot, and then the buyer gets with Brad, the builder, and they start designing their home. Now, Brad, at this particular point when a buyer comes to you, do you start off with basic plans to say, hey, where do we start at? How do we start from there?
Well, a lot of people will bring me a design that they like. Sometimes it's what they want. Sometimes we need to sit down and go over it and change things. Or I have sat down and completely designed the house with them. At which point then, I will get the plans drawn up and approved by the homeowner. That's kind of down the road. The first thing we do is sit down and see what they want and where they want to live, and see if the house and the property work. Okay.
So we actually have to burn to a break, to pay for this radio show. So we're going to go to commercial here, Brad. So stick with us. We're going to have Brad back on the line here in just a couple of minutes.
The Real Estate Radio Guys with John Rainville and Kingsley Harmer. We'll be right back. Bring in the new year with brokersrealty.com and a new home, plus a free vacation getaway for two, simply as our thanks for doing business with us in 2018. Our realtors use state-of-the-art tools, techniques, and training to help you sell your old home, all while helping you buy a new home, vacation home, investment property, or commercial building. Google brokersrealty.com or text vacation to 79564 for more info and start the new year with a, well, bang. That's vacation to 79564.
Are you working with a mortgage company that offers pre-approvals or just pre-qualifications? Does your mortgage company reward police, firefighters, military, teachers, and nurses with better rates and fees? How would you like to apply and be updated on the status of your loan right from your phone? Introducing GSF Mortgage Corporation, where technology and relationships make the difference. Visit pagoloan.com to apply or call 717-200-4800 for more information. NMLS number 1018.
Buying or selling a home? For professional home inspection, call EnviroQuest of Harrisburg. Their certified home inspectors will conduct a thorough inspection and provide a detailed report with many pictures. They'll explain the findings. Do you have elevated radon levels in your house? Call EnviroQuest. They have fixed over 10,000 homes over the last 25 years. For a professional home inspection or radon mitigation, call EnviroQuest at 233-6144, 233-6144, or visit EnviroQuest online at evqharrisburg.com. That's evqharrisburg.com.
Bring in the new year with brokersrealty.com and a new home, plus a free vacation getaway for two, simply as our thanks for doing business with us in 2018. Our realtors use state-of-the-art tools, techniques, and training to help you sell your old home, all while helping you buy a new home, vacation home, investment property, or commercial building. Google brokersrealty.com or text vacation to 79564 for more info and start the new year with a, well, bang. That's vacation to 79564.
Everyone wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. If only they knew the best way to do it. Hi, I'm John Rainville.
And I'm Kingsley Harmer.
And we're the Real Estate Radio Guys. We bring over 40 years experience to talk about all things real estate.
Weekly, we'll discuss the latest trends, hot topics, along with tips and techniques that could save you thousands and eliminate headaches.
So tune in to the Real Estate Radio Guys, Saturdays at 8 a.m. here on WHYL 102.9. Real topics, real answers for real people.
Are you working with a mortgage company that offers pre-approvals or just pre-qualifications? Does your mortgage company reward police, firefighters, military, teachers, and nurses with better rates and fees? How would you like to apply and be updated on the status of your loan right from your phone? Introducing GSF Mortgage Corporation, where technology and relationships make the difference. Visit pagoloan.com to apply or call 717-200-4800 for more information. NMLS number 1018.
Everyone wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. If only they knew the best way to do it. Hi, I'm John Rainville.
And I'm Kingsley Harmer.
And we're the Real Estate Radio Guys. We bring over 40 years experience to talk about all things real estate.
Weekly, we'll discuss the latest trends, hot topics, along with tips and techniques that could save you thousands and eliminate headaches.
So tune in to the Real Estate Radio Guys, Saturdays at 8 a.m. here on WHYL 102.9. Real topics, real answers for real people.
Bye. Back to the show, the Real Estate Radio Guys with John Rainville and Kingsley Harmer.
Well, it's the Real Estate Radio Guys, and we're back this morning with Brad Farner, a superb builder here in Pennsylvania. And he and Kingsley right now are really chatting about how to go about building your dream home because, folks, it's never been easier. Kingsley?
And it hasn't been. So to kind of recap where we've been up to this point, we've gotten pre-qualified. We've matched up with a realtor. Okay, the realtor's helping you find that perfect lot where you want to build your dream home. And now that buyer is talking to their builder, Brad, and Brad has gone over some plans. You've gone through preliminary, ideas, whether it's a ranch, 2-story, the whole 9 yards. And you think you're pretty much at the point where you're, okay, this is it. This is what we want to do. So the next step is, I'm sure Brad is asking, okay, great, I've got this buyer. Now how do I get them into a home? They don't have a whole lot of money down, which is what this whole program is designed for. It brings in a whole lot more buyer pool for the availability for Brad to work with as a builder. And Brad's like, okay, well, I've got this guy that doesn't have a whole lot of money, but he wants to... He wants to build. So what does Brad do? Brad is going to, at this point, get approved with my company.
I want to clear.
It's a very simple having some technical difficulties.
Big Dog, who'd you hang up on, buddy? Brad, are you still there?
I'm still here.
All right. So Brad is going to fill out a couple of simple applications and submit some paperwork to us to become an approved builder with GSF. And all of that paperwork can be found on the website closeonetime.com. You click on builders, and you can download the forms right there to become approved with us. So once Brad is approved as a builder, we then get into figuring out what that purchase price is, right? So, yeah. Brad, you want to sign a contract with these guys, obviously, and in that contract, we want to make sure that we've got all the proper numbers that are built right into that contract, because, as you know, and here's the biggest benefit to not only the buyers but the builder as well. Once you're qualified and you sign a contract and you close on that loan, okay, that's it. You're done. You've closed. You don't have to worry about requalifying later on. You don't have to worry about the takeout loan. And the best part is throughout the whole process, you don't have to worry about a buyer qualifying for 2 mortgage payments or 2 interest payments throughout the process. They're already taken care of. So what goes into a contract? Well, you as a builder and the company get together. You put down what you want to make on the property, what your normal purchase price is for the home, okay? And a lot of times in that initial builder price is the closing costs, okay? We always want to start off with trying to cover closing costs if that's a possibility for the buyer. It opens up the buyer pool that much more. So you've got your base home price. You've got your closing costs built into that. And at that point, you've got your cost of improvements, right? You've got, the labor. You've got materials, grading, the whole 9 yards. Whatever it is for the cost of improvement of that home built on top of it. We then take the signed contract that the realtor has put together for the lot that they have found. So that's part of the purchase price at this point. And then you have some basic soft costs that go into any construction loan as far as, the draws, the management and underwriting of it, etc. And then, of course, you've got what they have called is interest, average interest on a construction loan. Okay. So all of that gets built into what the purchase price is.
So what's key here is actually you end up really with a building team. You end up with a builder like Brad, mm-hmm. the loan officer like yourself, and the realtor all working in conjunction to put this whole entire package together. So that's a key thing, everybody working together to get you into this home that you want.
All the components are built around the idea of making it work for you. So at the end of the day, the builder is obviously, selling his product. The costs are covered. The land is covered. The interest is covered throughout the construction of the loan. You've got a purchase price. At this point, Brad is going to have the buyer sign a contract because we now know what that contract price is, right? So buyer signs a contract. The buyer and the construction are then underwritten to make sure that, Brad knows what he's doing and that there's nothing that's going to fall outside of, maybe permitting, et cetera, that maybe you've got, left off the contract. The last thing we want to do is miss anything.
Can I just interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
Brad, do you recommend that a buyer build in some extra money, maybe like a little contingency fee? I mean, I've just never seen anybody build and end up being spot on the contract. Do you think they should keep like a couple percent in? Let's say we're building a $200,000 lot and home package. Do you think they should build in maybe another $2,000, $4,000, just because, little changes they may make with you in the process. Can you give us something on that?
Yeah, I would say I would actually say probably anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000.
Okay, so they should have that little contingency, because I know everyone always thinks, well, yeah, I know exactly what I want, and then they get halfway through it and they're going, Brad, we want a larger tub.
Well, I'm going to interject there for one quick second.
Okay.
All right, because there's a lot of advantages to this program, right? I mean, we don't have to worry about mortgage payments or interest payments throughout the construction phase. The builder doesn't have to worry about whether or not the buyer's going to requalify after all is said and done, because the loan is already closed, okay? So that's why we're into this section of underwriting. Okay. And part of that section of underwriting is to see whether or not up to a 10% contingency is built in.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that is sweet.
Okay. So
Brad, you probably like that, right?
You've got a contingency built in.
Yes, I do.
And a lot of these things are designed because when you go to the closing table, which is on day one before you even start construction, the loan's done. It's closed. You can't come back and reclose a loan. So we want to make sure all this is done from day one, okay? So you've got your contingency built in. The one thing that is not allowed in the program are allowances for upgrades, okay? So with that being said, we want to be kind of finite on what we want for our upgrades, etc. After the loan closes, a buyer can still make any adjustments they want to the house. The only difference is they're pretty much going to have to pay for them with cash, okay? A contingency, however, is built into this particular loan up to 10% in the event of, issues that, for example, the well drilling goes bad, right? Something happens with some product that goes bad, it has to go back, it costs you an extra, a few $1,000. So we try to account for all that up front so that we're not running into issues and having to restructure or do any of that throughout the construction phase, because, again, the big benefit of this is that it's already closed. They've already qualified, they've already closed, there's no payments. Right now, Brad is at... basically, it's on him. He can close it in 2 months. He can close it in 6 months.
Nice.
Now, because the interest is already built in, for a builder, there's an incentive. The faster you close, right, that extra interest that may have been built in for a 6-month period is kind of like a bonus to the builder. Nice, another nice little incentive, right?
Yep.
So throughout this process, the builder can draw up to 5 times on it. Here's another beautiful thing, the only draw that a buyer has to sign off on is the last one. So we don't have to jump through a million hoops with the buyer coming out and signing and making sure each phase is correct. The buyer can go through the process, get the home done, and only the last phase gets signed off by the buyer, which I think is also nice, with a lot less headaches to go through the process for the builder. Now, with that being said...
Quicker.
Go ahead.
It's quicker. Sometimes the old way, it would hold up the subcontractors, the builder, and any materials that are coming out, because you had to wait for approval from the homeowner, then the bank, and everything to get the draw. So sometimes that slows down the building process.
And I can imagine it would. Now, they do send out an inspector to make sure, that the work's being done. And here's one other small caveat that I think a lot of builders would have to, first of all, they would have to understand it. Normally, as a builder, you get draws based on milestones. Is that correct? Like the old way of doing construction loans?
Yes.
With this loan, another benefit, if you will, is you get draws based on line item percentages. So let's just say, for example, because, one part of the process of building a home is the foundation. Let's say that's just the grading. Let's say that's the largest expense on the home. instead of saying, I have to go all the way through to the end of the foundation before I get my draw, you may say, look, part of my line item is the cinder block and pouring the basement, and I'd like to get a draw there because that's, a big expense for me. So you actually would have a draw put in to underwriting, and they would literally just have an inspector come out and say, yep, foundation's 100% complete, the cinder blocks are in, concrete's poured, 100% of that line item is done based on your construction that you laid out. You get 100% of that at the draw. So you don't have to wait for milestones. You do it based on line item percentages. You can do it just on windows if you wanted, or the roof. So it gives you more flexibility as far as what you need to get draws on. For example, you may have lines of credit with every manufacturer out there as a builder, but the one piece of that home that the buyer truly wanted, you just don't have a line of credit for. So you would either A, have to pay cash out of your own pocket, which may be a huge expense. In this event, you get to draw just that item alone.
Nice. You're making it it's so much simpler than things we've done in the past.
They've gone through this a few times. Like we've actually rolled this out in a few other states. We're now bringing it to Pennsylvania. So very, very happy about this product. And I hope the builders are too. I would invite other builders, retailers to call if they have any questions, or visit our website, closeonetime.com. And for the buyers that are out there thinking about this.
Well, wait a minute. We got to have some deals here. So what special deal are you going to get?
We're getting there. We're getting there. So for the buyers that are out there thinking, oh, well, maybe I can buy a home. Maybe Brad can come out and build a home for me, and I'll actually be able to do that on my own lot for the same amount of money that I was getting ready to buy this old crusty home down the street that need, another $50,000 in upgrades, and Brad can put in exactly what I want. The granite countertops, the doors, whatever the case may be. So we want you to go to our websites, and we want you to get pre-qualified. And the next step is to get matched up with a realtor to find that lot, right? Once we find that lot, Brad, at this particular point in time, normally would have a little bit of a fee to come out and check the availability of the lot to see if it was feasible. But we have a special going on. I know you have a special going on this week. If a buyer calls up and says, hey, we heard your radio on the radio guys, we heard the whole show, we want that special. And that special is what?
So Brad, what can you do for them if they want to have a lot suitability for you to come out and check out the lot? I know that's normally about $500. What kind of deal can you cut our listeners today?
Well, if they mention the radio guy show, I will do that up to $500 for free.
Wow,
free!
Wow,
free!
That's outstanding. I'm putting that up on the site right now.
So far, you're into this whole deal for no money, right? Okay, so no money. Right. You're on there, you're getting pre-qualified. Closeonetime.com. Get pre-qualified, get some documents over to us. Let's get you approved. Brad's going to go out, check out the lot for feasibility. Once we do that, you're under contract. Guess what? Mention radio guys, and I will cover your appraisal for free as well.
Wow, we're getting some money out there. I'll tell you what, if they use one of our realtors, I'll throw in a free getaway trip.
A vacation.
I'll throw in a vacation on top of it.
We've got a free lot assessment today, a free appraisal, and a free vacation to buy a brand new home, which isn't going to cost you any more than you would if you were buying an old home. Free. That's amazing. Free is good, folks. Free is good. I think I'm getting ugly eyes over here from my co-producer that we're running out of time. So, Brad, what's the best number to call you on to take advantage of this deal?
717-592-5500. 574-5439.
And you're online as well, right? They can reach out to you through that?
Yes.
Is it Crockett Log Homes?
No, actually, they can go email me at pbfcontracting@comcast.net.
Perfect. And we will get that information out on our Facebook as well. I think John's putting it up right now so that we can make sure that you have access to it. Brad, thanks.
If they are interested in a log home, they can actually. I'm linked through crockettloghome.com.
Yep,
Okay.
we put that site up.
We're going to put that up as well
for you, buddy.
Brad, I hate to say we're running out of time here because we tried to cram so much information in, but you guys call Brad. We're going to put it up on our Facebook page. Get the ball rolling, really, if you're thinking about buying a home. Thanks for being on, Brad.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll certainly hope we'll be crossing paths here in the near future with some of our new clients.
All right. Well, have a great day.
You do the same. Have a great weekend.
All right.
Fantastic. It is John Stas. Are you on the line, buddy?
Do we have John on?
Good morning, John. John hung up on you, Kingsley.
All right, we lost John.
All right, well, that's interesting. Hey, John, if you're still listening there, buddy, go ahead and call us back in here quick, and we can get you in here for the asbestos and lead. Go ahead, Kingsley. What else have you got to say there?
Well, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer for folks. I mean, it really is. If you're thinking about buying a home, why not build a more efficient one if your payments are going to be, close to the same? If you're not going to need any more money to do this as if you were buying any other type of home, because we do have this one-time, it's a true one-time closed construction loan. The land gets paid, the builder gets his funds in escrow on the close one time in the very beginning of the process. We go through construction while you're living in your current residence. You don't have to make payments on both, which is a benefit to both the buyer and the builder. The loan's already done, so the only time you start making payments is when you sign off on the very last phase of the property. And on top of that, we're giving away a free vacation, a free appraisal, and a free land assessment.
Yeah, so if you guys are thinking about that, give us, reach out to us. And I believe we have Mr. Stas on the line now.
Wait. John, you there? Oh, let me put you on hold.
Good morning, John. How are you doing? Sorry about the earlier technical difficulties. Brad gets long-winded.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Oh, great.
So you're on, buddy. You got the last couple minutes here before we gotta close out the show. So I know you're talking about lead paint and asbestos.
Sure. Yeah. So with asbestos, a lot of times it's a concern. Homeowners have older homes that may have asbestos. So basically, it's divided into two categories. There's what's considered friable, which friable means easily crushed between your thumb and forefinger, and non-friable. So some examples of friable asbestos would be some asbestos that's on your piping in your basement. An example of non-friable or like a harder asbestos material would be like a chimney liner. Sometimes they use it to make chimney liners or chimneys themselves because of the fire resistance qualities of asbestos, or asbestos siding. So what we look for as far as a danger or hazard to homeowners would be, number one, friable asbestos, and number two, friable asbestos that's in poor condition. So there's many different types, but here's an example of a situation which could possibly be dangerous to a homeowner and is pretty common, would be a hydronic or water-based heating system that has asbestos insulated piping in the basement that's in poor condition. Okay, hey, it was installed in the 40s or the 50s, and it's deteriorated and chunks are falling onto the floor. So what happens is the friable asbestos can become airborne. Wood floor in the house, people walk across the floor, that creates a vibration. Then that vibration causes the asbestos that's on the piping, which is in poor condition, to become airborne. Then it gets circulated throughout the house.
Okay, hey, John, we're running out of time here, so we're going to let you close out the show today with your contact information. We're going to have you on a little bit longer next show.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So you know how we close out, right?
Yeah. So the best way to contact us is EnviroQuest 717-233-6144, or on the web, evqharrisburg.com, and of course our Facebook page.
All of which we have up on the site. So listen, till next week. Sorry, guys, we ended up running.